I said be quiet, Woods. We want to do fantasy versus reality. You stay in your box. All right, here we go. It's time for fantasy versus reality. How'd you do last week, Goz?
I went 1-2. Robert Woods, nice.
Okay,
nice.
well, I went 0-3.
Ooh, so little Gozzy Bear's got a game and a half lead on you now.
Oh, my goodness, man. I was one of those weekends where I'm just watching things go by. I thought the Giants would represent. They didn't. I thought Cleveland would represent. It all came down to one play, so they didn't. And I thought the Jets would take down your Buccaneers, and they didn't. So I was just stupid last week. So you can go first or you can go second. It's your call. You have the lead.
I will go first, and my record this season is 13-16-1. 13-16-1 is my record.
You make 12-18.
That's right. It's been a tough year this year picking games. And
luckily, I've made some different picks for my Death Wish locks that have gone way better.
Yeah, and fantasy football-wise, we all know how crazy it's been. No more excuses. Here we go. Quarterback position. I have taken this, and this has helped me all season long, this mentality when picking fantasy football quarterbacks in PPR leagues, point per receptions, to beat the projections on ESPN standard scoring. Take the quarterback whose job is at risk that weekend. I've done it with Blake Bortles. I've done it with Case Keenum. I've done it with Josh McCown. And now we do it with New York Giant quarterback Eli Manning.
His job's not in jeopardy. How dare you?
Well, how many people have told us this past 2 weeks that Davis Webb's got to get reps? Davis Webb has to be out there. Davis Webb's got to get a series. Even I was at one point convinced, like, all right, just toss him in there in the third quarter for a series. But take Eli Manning this week. Eli's projection is 15.4. Now, only 3 of the 9 games of the Giants season has Eli Manning had over 15.4 as a fantasy football output. But the Kansas City Chiefs defense has allowed the 7th most points to fantasy football quarterbacks this season. And remember the fun part about fantasy football, and owners know this.
It's a fantasy.
Well, that, plus if the Giants are down 28-0,
garbage time.
They got to throw the football. That's right. So if the Giants get blown out, Eli helps you with yardage. Look for 277 yards. 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. 277, 2-1 gets me to hit that projection. That's not easy, but my mentality has been take the quarterback whose job's at risk. Give me Eli Manning to beat his projection against the Chiefs.
All right, there's your first pick. Here comes mine, buddy. It's week 1 of the NFL season. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to play the Miami Dolphins. Not so fast, my friend, doesn't happen. So here it is now, week 1 all over again, as that game is going to take place, and currently it is a pick'em. I think the Dolphins are in big trouble. I think with the no bye week, I think that actually affected them even more than it affected Tampa Bay. I think coming off of a loss, look, here's the deal. I think Adam Gase is looking at this team and going, how many of you can I get rid of before next season when he looks at the Miami Dolphins? Meanwhile, Tampa Bay goes out and they get a win over the Jets with Ryan Fitzpatrick. They get Mike Evans back this week. The only place they're not going to get questions about how stupid their quarterback is and whether he's eating W's or groping Uber drivers, not to make light of that, but I have to point it out, it happened, allegedly, is going to be on the football field. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the Battle of Florida straight up in a pick'em game. I think the Bucs are going to get this one done.
I love it, Levack. It's your best pick of the season. Shout out to Mike and Troy. Shout out to Xavier and Schenectady. That's all the shout-outs. Ellie Marpet, the offensive lineman from Hobart. I love it.
A little ukulele somewhere.
That's right. Best pick of the season right there. The Bucs will get on a winning streak. And by the way, I still think that's affected their entire season, both the Dolphins and Buccaneers. I know the people like Byron Hunt who would tell us, we didn't have a bye week. We didn't have to deal with that time off. It really feels like scheduling, injuries, rehab, all those things have hurt both of those teams this season. All right, I move on to the running back position now. There's times in fantasy football where you just get a feeling. You just got to go grab someone in the waiver wire and think, this one's going to work out for me. I actually asked you guys about this player when we were sitting right here at the table, wondering both Harambe and Levack's feel for him, but I love his matchup. And it's running back from the Green Bay Packers, Jamal Williams. Think about this.
Green Bay has running backs?
I know. Believe it or not, they do. Aaron Jones, when he came off the bench on that game, he had a really good game. And early in his rookie career. Same with Ty Montgomery, and he bursted onto the scene last year. Believe it or not, before Eddie Lacy got fat, he was pretty good.
Cheeseburger Eddie Lacy?
Yeah, he was good for the Packers at the start of his career, too. There's something about Mike McCarthy finding that new target, that new toy, that new part of the offense he's never used before that he likes. Last week, as the third-string running back, Jamal Williams got 20 carries off the bench. All I need is 11.9 from Jamal Williams. So, you give me 60 yards and a touchdown, I'm rolling with that. Now, here's where it gets a little interesting with the matchup. The Baltimore Ravens, when it comes to total defense in the National Football League this season, rank 28th. 28th in total defense. Only 4 teams have been worse on defense against the run this season than the Baltimore Ravens. But fantasy football-wise, they've only allowed the 14th fewest points to running backs. All that means to me is they're not letting running backs get in the end zone. Jamal Williams gets in the end zone, he's good to go. Give me Jamal Williams out of the Green Bay Packer backfield to have a big game and beat his projection of 11.9.
Excuse me, pardon me, I have to put this on. It's my Homer hat. All right, here we go. I haven't broken out very often this year, but the Homer hat is on.
Here it comes.
I'm going to go with those Mexico Raiders.
Ooh,
I think the Mexico Raiders are going to be...
Raiders.
What's that?
Los Raiders.
Mexico, Los Raiders? Los Mexico.
Day Raiders.
Dos Raiders? What? I'm lost. Listen, they're going to go chupacabra on the Patriots when they get down there at Stadium Azteca. The Patriots are a full touchdown favorite over the Raiders, and the Raiders have a lot to play for. And they're actually, believe this or not, they're going to have better home field advantage in Mexico City than they do in Oakland.
Why is that?
Because the people of Mexico love the Raiders. Last year, that thing looked like anything. No regular season game has ever had that kind of fan participation the way that one did, and it'll be the same this year. And it'll be that way for 2 reasons. One, the Raiders don't know where they're going to be playing home games in 2019. And 2, the Mexico officials who own Stadium Azteca would love to be where the Raiders play those home games. I think you're going to see some scenario in which the Raiders play about 4, at minimum 4 of their home games at that stadium in 2019. This is the flirting, dating phase. The Raiders know they need to go out there and win. Jack Del Rio's getting pressure from Mark Davis, which is probably really awkward sounding because the guy has a Floby haircut and wears an all-white jumpsuit. But that being said, I'm taking the 7 points. I'm taking the Raiders. I'm taking them over the Patriots. And we have a bet with our boss.
We sure do.
If we win with the Raiders, you're now lumped in with me. He has to take us out to lunch.
Yeah.
If somehow the filthy, evil Patriots steal one south of the border, we have to take him out to lunch.
I'm cool with that. I'll roll with the Raiders. I like that bet. I think
You're paying the bar tab.
No, I'm not. I love it. It's a disgusting, terrible bet. No, I really do think the Raiders can hang in this game, too. The Patriot defense is bad, man. Carr's looking for a nice matchup. Crabtree and Cooper on the outside.
They're feeding Lynch.
Yeah, the little field advantage.
Little beast mode.
Like it. I like the Raiders, and I like lunch.
La beast mode. Los beast mode.
What is lunch in Spanish? Do you remember? El lunch.
La luncho.
El luncho.
No offense to anyone who speaks Spanish. We just don't know any better.
Just don't. Hola, me llamo Goz. Wide receiver, tight end position. So this one's either one each week. Something's going to happen in this Cowboy-Eagles game. I've told people here at O'Toole's, I've told people off the air at our station that I feel like Philadelphia's going to destroy Dallas this weekend. I really do. With Doug Peterson coming off a bye, Carson Wentz, I know he was hunting out in the Dakotas on a few days, out in the full camo gear, but I like this matchup for Philadelphia. Someone's going to have a big game. Is Zach Ertz going to be healthy enough? His projection's too high. Is Trey Burton getting enough reps? I don't like his projection either. So give me Nelson Aguilar. How about Nelson Aguilar this season? He's been one of the favorite targets of Carson Wentz. And he's got a nice projection this week. All he's got to get you is about 5 catches for 53 yards. So 10.3 will hit his projection. But here's the problem. Nelson Aguilar hasn't had over 5 catches this season. So you just got to get him in the end zone. You get Nelson Aguilar in the end zone with 3 catches and 20 yards. That's good enough to beat his projection. And right now, the Dallas Cowboy defense has allowed the 8th most fantasy points to wide receivers this season. Carson Wentz let it fly. The running backs, whether it's Blunt, whether it's Ajayi, whether it's Corey Clement, somebody's going to have to get the reps back there. Don't do it. Throw it to Nelson Aguilar. Let him beat his projection of 10.3 against Dallas this weekend.
It's very interesting. Sometimes fantasy versus reality has a way of meeting in the middle. As we do not prepare together, we write these things in our own offices. We pick our own players or teams in our own offices. But I'll tell you this, for my third and final pick for this week, fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah, you're with me on this.
Dak Prescott was sacked 8 times, lost 50 yards against the Atlanta Falcons. Now he's going against the hard-charging pressure of the Eagles' front 7. They are coming at him. They're going to beat him up bad. Dak may not finish this game. He may have to take a little time on the bench. No Zeke, no Dak at that point. As a matter of fact, even if Dak is in there, he's going to be on his butt more than on his feet. And there's going to be more time. Like every time you see a Cowboys running back in the backfield, just count that as one, because I think you'll see more Eagles helmets in that backfield anyway as the game goes on. I expect this to be pretty bad for Dallas as they wait to get Zeke back. They're a good team, but it's going to be more about next year than this year, if you ask me. I'm laying the 4.5 points with the Eagles over the Cowboys for my Sunday night extravaganza.
Bring the Eagles fans out. Bring back intern Bryce, Ken Schott.
No, Ken Schott. Okay.
Michael Driscoll. Eagles going to win Super Bowl. All right, let's recap it here again. We're talking about standard scoring for PPR leagues and fantasy football leagues, points per reception. My goal is to beat those projections with these players. Week 11 has a lot of bye weeks again, so if you feel like starting some of these guys, evaluate your lineups cautiously. My quarterback, I'm going with the mentality I've gotten right so many times this season. If the quarterback's job is in trouble and people want someone else to play, bank on that quarterback having a good statistical week that upcoming week. That's why I'm taking Eli Manning, 15.4 projection against the Kansas City Chiefs, 7th most fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks this season. I'm taking Eli. Running back, go Green Bay Packer running back Jamal Williams. Come off the bench last week. How about 20 carries in a nice outing? 11.9 against a not great Baltimore Raven defense against the run. In my wide receiver / tight end position, give me Eagles wide receiver Nelson Aguilar. All Aguilar needs from me is 10.35 catches, 53 yards. I'm banking on him getting the end zone, though. Aguilar against the Cowboys defense, who's allowed the 8th most points to wide receivers in fantasy football this season.
I will recap mine now. You know what's worse than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Nobody. Best team in football.
Not a lot. Well, I said worse. You said nobody's worse than they are. You just said,
shoot.
At least the Miami Dolphins are. So they'll win in a pick-em right there. Mexico Raiders. Listen, to my knowledge, the Raiders are undefeated in Mexico, and they'll continue that trend. The Eagles will take down the Cowboys, a very depleted Cowboy team Sunday night. This season is getting out. Never lost in Mexico. That's right. Thank you, LeVar. We appreciate you. So, again, Tampa, the pick. Raiders, +7. Eagles, -4.5. That's fantasy versus reality. I'm looking to get back in the winner's circle and take you down, guys. Lewski.
3-0. I can smell it. I know you might go 3-0, though.
Thank you. I
know
that.
the Tampa pick's going to get you.
Oh, you meant for you? That's not going to happen.
Oh.
And that's not 3-0 you smell. Excuse me. We are live at O'Toole's Bacon Bashes tomorrow night. It is going to be so much fun. But you might as well get in here and scout your location now because you got great food, ice-cold beers, perfect start to your weekend right here at O'Toole's in Colony. We're talking about the Giants. We're talking about the Jets. I actually saw an article today from our friend Rich Samini about what Todd Bowles has to do to keep his job. It leads me to this question. Whose seat is hotter, McAdoo or Bowles? Next.